Hello friends. What if I told you that being born on February 8th is more than just an Aquarius trait, it's a cosmic fingerprint, etched by the universe across multiple mystical traditions. People born on this day aren't just dreamers, they're revolutionaries with hearts that beat in frequencies others can't hear. Let's dive into the spiritual, emotional, romantic, and energetic layers that make these February 8th souls truly unforgettable. Western Zodiac, the Aquarian Rebel. Being born on February 8th places you under one of the most enigmatic signs of the zodiac, Aquarius. But let's set the record straight, this water-bearer is anything but watery. Aquarius is an air sign, ruled by Uranus, the planet that governs rebellion, sudden change, unconventional ideas, and genius flashes of insight. February 8th Aquarians are not just different from the rest of us, they're frequently operating on an entirely different wavelength. These individuals are wired for progress. They don't care about traditions unless those traditions serve a larger purpose. If society says, go left, a February 8th Aquarian will ask, why? And then probably go right, inventing a new route along the way. They're not just disruptors, they're visionary architects of the future. Think of them as the brainstormers of humanity, fascinated by technology, philosophy, and the possibilities of what the world could be. There's something untamable about these souls. They don't like being boxed in by expectations, labels, or other people's timelines. They move at their own pace, guided by an internal compass that points not north, but forward. Whether it's fashion, opinions, or lifestyle, they are distinctive, and they make zero apologies for it. They often dress uniquely, speak in metaphors or paradoxes, and frequently surprise even their closest friends with their unpredictability. Yet behind all that eccentricity is a razor-sharp intellect. Aquarians born on February 8th are deep thinkers, often engaging in philosophical thought, humanitarian causes, or innovative problem-solving. They are brilliant strategists who can zoom out and see the bigger picture when others are lost in the weeds. Their minds are like galaxies, expansive, mysterious, and often hard to fully comprehend. But there's also a softer, quieter element to them that often goes unseen. These people care deeply, about the world, about justice, about people. They may not show affection in traditional ways, but their loyalty runs deep, and their emotional strength is unparalleled. They're often the ones quietly working behind the scenes to make meaningful, lasting change. When they stand up for something, it's with unshakable conviction. Love, passion with a dash of paradox. Love, for the February 8th Aquarian, is both a concept and a puzzle. These are people who will question what love even means while simultaneously falling into it with eyes wide open. They are independent lovers, fiercely protective of their freedom and suspicious of emotional dependency. But once they commit, it's because they've chosen someone who aligns with them not only romantically, but mentally, spiritually, and even ideologically. Don't expect them to follow traditional relationship paths. Valentine's Day might be skipped in favor of an impromptu trip to an observatory, a weird poetry slam, or a Netflix binge of conspiracy documentaries. But that's exactly what makes loving them so thrilling. Their style of affection is unconventional, personal, and often totally unforgettable. They don't fall for appearances or status. They fall for ideas, for quirks, for someone's ability to challenge their thinking or show them something they've never considered before. To the Aquarian, love is a journey of exploration, a shared investigation into the mysteries of existence, one deep conversation at a time. They might forget your anniversary but remember your childhood dream. They may zone out during small talk but write you a 2-page letter on how your brain works like an undiscovered star system. They are romantic philosophers, combining logic with idealism in ways that both confuse and enchant. Still, it's not always easy to love them. Their need for personal space can be misinterpreted as aloofness. Their dislike of emotional drama might seem like indifference. But give them time, and they'll surprise you with their depth of care. When they say, I love you, it's not out of habit, it's because it means something profound. Best matches in love. Gemini is a perfect match, offering mental stimulation, wit, and the same need for social exploration. Together, they're like a think tank wrapped in a love story. Libra brings harmony and shared humanitarian values, helping the Aquarian focus and emotionally stabilize without feeling trapped. Sagittarius appeals to Aquarius' sense of freedom, adventure, and love for all things uncharted. This is a high-energy match full of fun, unpredictability, and shared ideals. Aries keeps things passionate and full of motion. While both can be strong-willed, they respect each other's independence enough to avoid ego clashes, most of the time. Challenging matches. Scorpio, while intriguing, can feel too emotionally intense and private for open-book Aquarius. The Aquarian transparency and need for detachment often confuses the deeply emotional Scorpio. Cancer desires emotional security, tradition, and nurturing, all things that can feel smothering to the fiercely independent Aquarian. Taurus may offer stability, but their fixed, routine-loving nature clashes with the Aquarian's constant desire for the new, weird, or futuristic. The Aquarian psyche, inventive, elusive, brilliant. To truly understand someone born on February 8th, you must be willing to explore contradictions. They are human paradoxes, logical and emotional, detached yet deeply loyal, wild and structured all at once. Their personalities are mosaics, pieces of rebellion, shards of genius, flashes of vulnerability, all held together by a vision that most people can't yet see. Their energy feels futuristic because, in a way, they're ahead of their time. They may be building concepts that society won't fully appreciate for decades. And while that can be isolating, it also makes them vital. They aren't here to be understood by everyone, they're here to light the way forward. The February 8th Aquarian is not just someone who walks to the beat of their own drum. They built the drum from spare parts, tuned it to a frequency only they can hear, and then danced under the stars while questioning the very concept of rhythm. Their rebellion isn't loud, necessarily. Sometimes it's a quiet refusal to conform, a lifestyle that doesn't fit into any checklist, a love that doesn't obey rules. But make no mistake, they are here to disrupt the ordinary and rewrite the possible. If you know someone born on this day, don't try to label them, just let them be. Because once you do, they might just blow your mind and change your world in ways you never saw coming. Sex, electric and experimental. For those born on February 8th, sex isn't just a physical act, it's a curated experience, a dance of minds as much as bodies. These Aquarians are intellectually driven sensualists who are most aroused by novelty, originality, and the thrill of exploration. They crave connection, but not the kind that can be easily categorized. Instead, they're drawn to encounters that feel expansive, rule-breaking, and slightly off the beaten path. Their sexual nature is vibrant, dynamic, and never predictable. What turns them on isn't necessarily what you'd find in a romance novel or a standard seduction playlist. It could be an abstract conversation at 2 a.m., an unexpected power exchange, or even the act of sharing a secret theory about life, space, or parallel realities. For Aquarians born on this day, mental arousal is the foreplay. If you can engage their brain, you've already lit the fuse. They have a natural curiosity that extends into every area of their lives, and that includes their sexual expression. Traditional, step-by-step routines. Not likely. They're more inclined to suggest spontaneous experimentation, unusual locations, or even tech-enhanced intimacy if the mood strikes. Sex with them is rarely about the destination, it's about the journey, the experimentation, the emotional science project unfolding in real time. There's also an unexpected level of emotional depth in their sexual experiences, though it may not show up in stereotypical ways. While they may appear emotionally detached or cool, February 8th Aquarians are capable of profound, electric intimacy. Their passion runs like a current, subtle, but powerful enough to light up every circuit of your being. They also respect boundaries deeply, both their own and those of others. Consent, mutual exploration, and shared understanding are vital. They don't do control or domination out of ego, they're far more interested in mutual discovery. Their ideal partner is someone who can go there with them, who can explore without fear, and who understands that the most powerful connection often comes from authenticity, not choreography. This is not a sign that thrives on surface-level attraction. If the chemistry doesn't have layers, they'll lose interest fast. They want lovers who are thinkers, creators, challengers, people who can match their unique wavelength. If sex is a language, they speak it in invented dialects, accented by wit, wonder, and just enough rebellion to keep things exhilarating. Marriage, a partnership of equals. When it comes to marriage, February 8 Aquarians are anything but conventional. Forget the picket fence, chore wheels, and Tuesday night meatloaf. These individuals want meaningful partnership, not domesticated routine. For them, marriage must be based on mutual respect, shared vision, and the unshakable freedom to remain fully themselves. They view marriage through a philosophical lens, often asking, what does it mean to truly commit without losing one's identity? That question isn't rhetorical, it's the foundation of the kind of relationship they're willing to enter. They're skeptical of traditional constructs unless they can personalize them, redesigning every step to align with their values and individuality. A February 8 Aquarian might not rush into marriage. They need to know that their partner truly understands them, not just loves them, but gets their essence. That includes their need for space, their spontaneous nature, their idealistic views, and their ever-changing sense of what the future might hold. They don't want a marriage based on routine, they want one built on shared growth, freedom, and possibility. Their ideal union often looks more like a creative partnership or a lifelong collaboration than a romance novel. It's two individuals orbiting around a shared goal, but never losing their own unique gravitational pull. They thrive in marriages where each person is supported in becoming more fully themselves, rather than conforming to roles or expectations. In day-to-day life, they're flexible, supportive, and often surprisingly dependable once their trust has been earned. But they can't stand emotional manipulation, passive-aggressive behavior, or any attempt to control their freedom. They want deep honesty, openness, and a partner who evolves alongside them, not someone who resists change. Marriage for a February 8 Aquarian is not a retreat into security, it's an adventure into shared evolution. It's about building a relationship that makes both people stronger, smarter, freer, and more inspired. They don't just want to grow old with someone, they want to grow wiser, weirder, and wilder, side by side. Their ultimate marriage fantasy? A love that feels like rebellion, against stagnation, against fear, and against anything less than fully, unapologetically real. Friendship, the magnetic visionary. Friendship for someone born on February 8 is never boring, never shallow, and never predictable. These Aquarians aren't just casual socializers, they're connectors of worlds. Somehow, they know the street poet, the AI engineer, the barista who moonlights as a cellist, and the philosopher who DJs on weekends, and they make it all make sense. Their social web isn't built on sameness but on diversity, creativity, and bold authenticity. They draw people in not through effort, but through sheer energy. There's a sense that wherever they are, something interesting is about to happen. Their magnetism comes not from flashiness, but from how deeply real they are. A February 8 Aquarian doesn't pretend, doesn't people please, and doesn't follow the crowd. And that kind of fearless individuality is contagious. People are drawn to them because they make others feel free, seen, and more themselves. They create spaces, physical or emotional, where judgment falls away and curiosity takes over. These Aquarians don't cling to friends, but that doesn't mean they don't care. They're fiercely loyal to their inner circle, even if they don't always show it in traditional ways. You might not get a "thinking of you" text every week, but if your car breaks down at 3 a.m. or your life falls apart in a single afternoon, they're the ones who will drop everything and appear, unshaven, hoodie-clad, with snacks and some off-the-wall plan to fix your problem. Their loyalty is quiet but immovable. Because they think in broad, future-focused terms, February 8 friends don't thrive on gossip, emotional dependency, or small talk. They want ideas, adventures, revelations. The ideal friendship, in their mind, is like an ongoing think tank. They'll discuss the ethics of AI, swap bizarre documentaries, and text you articles about ancient civilizations at 1 a.m. If you can keep up, and better yet, challenge their thinking, you've got a friend for life. There's also a beautiful irony to their friendships. Though they value independence and solitude, their presence in someone's life feels profoundly intimate. Being their friend is like having a secret portal to the future, one filled with creative sparks, philosophical rants, unexpected road trips, and that rare feeling that someone truly understands your weirdness. To be accepted by a February 8 Aquarian isn't just an honor. It's an invitation into a one-of-a-kind world. Business, the revolutionary thinker. February 8 individuals are not built for conventional office life, they're wired for disruption. These are the people who invent new systems while everyone else is still trying to fix the old ones. They're not just business-minded, they're visionaries, drawn to industries where innovation is rewarded, thinking is abstract, and normal is a dirty word. Give them a blueprint and they'll tear it up, not out of disrespect, but because they know there's a better way. Their approach to business is both strategic and intuitive. They can see patterns where others see chaos, trends before they surface, and opportunities in the overlooked. Whether it's launching a socially conscious app, creating an NFT for an endangered language, or designing AI that improves mental health, February 8 Aquarians don't just work for money, they work to shift culture. Entrepreneurship suits them best, because they need autonomy like others need oxygen. They flourish when they're allowed to experiment, fail, and start over smarter. Corporate environments can feel stifling unless they're part of a team that values why just as much as how. Micromanagement is their kryptonite. But give them trust, freedom, and a mission with real impact, and they'll outcreate, outthink, and outlast everyone in the room. Their leadership style is unorthodox but powerful. They're not into power plays or hierarchy for hierarchy's sake. They lead by vision, not control. They want collaborators, not followers. People who work with them often describe it as chaotic, challenging, and absolutely exhilarating. They have a way of unlocking potential in others simply by believing in possibilities most never consider. But here's the kicker, February 8 Aquarians don't just aim to succeed, they aim to redefine what success means. For them, business is a platform for ethical evolution. Whether it's pushing for environmental change, advocating for mental health, or building inclusive tech, they're not satisfied with profit unless it has purpose. Their ultimate goal? To leave the world better, and weirder, than they found it. Numerology, the power of 8. Those born on February 8 are under the unmistakable influence of the number 8 in numerology, and that changes the game entirely. While most Aquarians are known for their airy idealism, love of freedom, and abstract thinking, the power of 8 brings something radically grounding to the mix: discipline, strategy, and manifestation. This number isn't just a digit, it's a symbol of infinite cycles, karmic power, and the potential to build empires, both literal and metaphorical. When paired with Aquarius' radical mind, the result is a uniquely effective visionary, someone who doesn't just see the future, but engineers it. The number 8 in numerology is associated with ambition, strength, and material success, but it's not about greed or accumulation, it's about mastery. People influenced by this number have a deep sense of personal responsibility. They see life as a system of energy and consequence, where every action has a ripple, and every goal has a cost. February 8 Aquarians carry that karmic awareness, and whether they realize it or not, they are always balancing spiritual accountability with real-world impact. They are meant to lead, build, and transform, but with integrity at the core. Where a typical Aquarian might lose interest once the brainstorming phase ends, the February 8th Aquarian, empowered by the number 8, is different. They are the ones who follow through. Dream it, design it, execute it, that's their rhythm. They can take a wild concept, wrap it in logic, and roll it out to the masses. Their talents often show up in business, politics, social innovation, architecture, or any field where a combination of bold thinking and rigorous implementation is rewarded. But there's more to the number 8 than just external power. It also represents balance, especially the balance between the material and the spiritual. February 8th individuals are tasked with learning how to build success without losing their soul in the process. It's easy for them to overwork, to hyper-focus on achievement, or to fall into patterns of control. The lesson of the 8 is to remember that inner stability fuels outer success. When they align their ambitions with their higher values, they become unstoppable. There's also a karmic undertone to this number: what they give out, they receive tenfold. That includes energy, integrity, and intention. February 8th Aquarians often find that their lives follow cycles, highs and lows, wins and losses, expansions and contractions. But through it all, the 8 gives them resilience. They come back smarter, stronger, and more focused every time. And over time, they develop a kind of strategic patience, understanding that real change, whether personal or planetary, takes time, effort, and vision. Perhaps most impressively, this blend of Aquarius and 8 doesn't just create leaders, it creates legacy builders. These are people who want to leave behind something lasting. A new system. A company that disrupts an industry. A philosophy that redefines human potential. The Aquarian imagination dreams it, the 8 energy grounds it into the earth. It's not a common combo, and that's why it stands out. So if you're a February 8th Aquarian, remember this: you're not just here to be brilliant, you're here to build brilliance. You're a lighthouse with scaffolding, a dreamer in steel-toed boots. You carry the burden, and the gift, of both seeing what's possible and making it happen. That's the power of 8. Use it well. Celtic Tree Horoscope, the Cedar. If you were born on February 8th, your soul tree in the Celtic Tree Horoscope is the cedar, a symbol of nobility, resilience, and quiet intensity. In the ancient Druidic tradition, every tree embodies specific energetic traits, and the cedar is no exception. Known for standing tall in harsh conditions and retaining its evergreen strength, the cedar is the ultimate metaphor for those who thrive under pressure, command silent respect, and possess a powerful inner compass. People born under the cedar tree don't just enter a room, they shift its atmosphere. There's an unmistakable presence about them, part mystery, part magnetism, part unshakable confidence. You may not know their entire story, but you know they've got one. This makes February 8th individuals deeply compelling, often admired from afar for their cool composure and razor-sharp perception. But beneath that serene exterior is a revolutionary heart, quietly strategizing for a better world. Cedar personalities don't chase attention, they attract it through strength and authenticity. They are the natural anchors in chaotic environments, the stabilizers during emotional storms. Friends and loved ones often turn to them for advice, comfort, or even just their calming energy. But make no mistake, just because they appear calm doesn't mean they're passive. These people are driven by deep convictions, especially around fairness, justice, and personal responsibility. In relationships, cedars are selective. They don't open up easily, but when they do, they offer fierce loyalty and protection. They're not interested in superficial bonds, they want real connections, built over time and rooted in trust. They're attracted to people who have a strong sense of identity and don't need constant reassurance. If you're their friend or partner, you'll feel their support in the quiet but powerful way they stand beside you, no matter what. Professionally, cedar-born individuals are often quiet leaders, those who don't seek the spotlight but end up in it because of their integrity, competence, and insight. They can be perfectionists, holding themselves and others to high standards, and they often excel in roles that require strategy, long-term vision, or mentorship. They're particularly good at managing complex systems, be it businesses, creative projects, or family dynamics. What truly sets the seeder apart is their ability to inspire without preaching. They embody strength without ego, ambition without recklessness, and passion without chaos. They live by example and often serve as guiding lights for others without even realizing it. Their power lies not in force, but in influence, the kind that shifts mindsets and elevates everyone around them. The deeper spiritual lesson for the seeder: learning when to let go of control. Because they're so naturally capable and reliable, they often take on more than they should, believing it's their job to fix, guide, or protect everyone. But part of their evolution lies in trusting others and recognizing that their worth isn't tied to how much they can carry. If you were born on February 8th, your seeder spirit means you're not only built to weather storms, you are often the shelter for others. Strong but soft-spoken. Steady but still growing. Private, yet profoundly impactful. You were born to lead not with noise, but with presence. Just like the tree you're connected to, you stand tall, rooted in truth, reaching always for the sky. Flower horoscope: orchid. The orchid is no ordinary bloom, and neither are those born on February 8th. In the language of flowers, the orchid symbolizes rare beauty, refined elegance, and powerful resilience, all of which echo in the spirit of this Aquarian soul. While some flowers demand attention with loud colors or obvious charm, the orchid is quieter, more intricate, more enigmatic. And that's precisely how February 8th individuals move through life, not with noise, but with a presence so distinct it lingers long after they've left the room. People born under the orchid flower are often misunderstood at first glance. There's a mystique to them, a sense that there's always more beneath the surface, layers that most people never quite reach. They are complex, not for the sake of being difficult, but because their thoughts, emotions, and ideas are richly textured. Just like the orchid, they bloom slowly, often revealing their full selves only to those who've earned their trust or taken the time to appreciate the subtleties. Independence is one of their most defining traits. Orchids don't thrive in just any environment, they require specific conditions to flourish, and so do February 8th Aquarians. These individuals need freedom, intellectual stimulation, and emotional safety to show their true brilliance. Conformity stifles them. Routine bores them. They need to feel seen not just for what they offer on the surface, but for who they are at their core: imaginative, sensitive, original beings with a surprisingly fierce strength beneath their graceful exterior. Much like the orchid that can grow in seemingly inhospitable places, high altitudes, tropical forests, even tucked into craggy rocks, these Aquarians often thrive in environments where others might wither. They're adaptable, yes, but not in a way that erases their essence. Instead, they transform their surroundings, bringing beauty and insight into spaces that were previously overlooked or underestimated. Their success rarely follows a linear path, it's about emergence, not arrival. Emotionally, orchid-born Aquarians possess a rare mix of sensitivity and detachment. They feel deeply, but don't always show it conventionally. Just like the orchid appears delicate but endures where few flowers can, February 8th individuals appear calm, even aloof, while carrying an incredible reservoir of emotional and mental strength. They're intuitive and empathetic, but not easily swayed. They have strong boundaries and a quiet confidence in who they are. Romantically, their orchid energy makes them magnetic. They're drawn to soulful, cerebral connections, relationships that feel almost cosmic in nature. They're the ones who write poetry no one reads, collect memories like artifacts, and love with the kind of depth that's hard to define but impossible to forget. Being loved by a February 8th Aquarian is like being chosen by the rarest bloom. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's meaningful, intentional, and completely transformative. In creative pursuits, orchid souls are dreamers who bring precision to imagination. Whether it's art, design, science, or technology, they approach their craft with both originality and care. Their work is often intricate, layered, and emotionally resonant, much like the orchid itself. They're not afraid to stand out, but they do so on their own terms, with grace rather than volume. The deeper spiritual message of the orchid for those born on this day is simple yet profound: true beauty is layered. Real strength is quiet. And the most authentic growth often happens in unexpected places. The February 8th Aquarian doesn't bloom for applause. They bloom for meaning, for depth, for the soul's satisfaction. And when they do, the world around them gets just a little more fascinating. Stone horoscope, amethyst. For those born on February 8th, the sacred stone is amethyst, a gem as spiritually potent and intellectually charged as the Aquarian it represents. This violet-hued crystal isn't just about aesthetics, it's about clarity, consciousness, and inner peace. Just like February 8th individuals, amethyst walks the line between the earthly and the ethereal, serving as a bridge between visionary ideas and emotional depth. It's a stone for thinkers, seekers, healers, and creators, precisely the type of soul born on this day. Amethyst is known in metaphysical traditions as the stone of spiritual awakening and divine insight. For February 8th Aquarians, already tuned into the strange frequencies of the universe, amethyst acts like an amplifier, heightening their intuition while grounding their mental energy. It helps balance the Aquarian tendency to overanalyze or spiral into abstraction, gently guiding them back to a place of emotional clarity and inner calm. This stone doesn't dim their mind's brilliance, it softens its edges and brings wisdom to its wild sparks. This makes amethyst especially helpful for February 8th individuals in times of mental overload or emotional disconnection. Aquarians are notorious for their strong intellect and desire to figure it all out, but amethyst whispers a softer truth: not everything needs solving. Some things simply need feeling. When worn or kept nearby, this crystal has a calming effect that aligns head with heart, helping these airy minds drop into their bodies and reconnect with a deeper emotional rhythm. There's also a protective element to amethyst. It's been regarded for centuries as a spiritual shield, warding off negativity, psychic interference, and emotional toxicity. That's a powerful asset for a February 8th Aquarian, who often finds themselves absorbing the energies of the people and world around them. Whether it's in social activism, leadership, or creative circles, they need something that helps them stay centered without becoming overwhelmed. Amethyst is like energetic armor for the soul. Creatively, this stone aligns beautifully with the Aquarian drive to innovate and inspire. Amethyst activates the third eye and crown chakras, fueling imagination, abstract thinking, and divine downloads. For the February 8th artist, engineer, or entrepreneur, amethyst can be the spark behind a breakthrough idea or the calm presence that keeps the vision from burning out. It's the stone of poetic rebels, tech prophets, and intuitive visionaries, the exact energy that defines this birth date. Symbolically, amethyst also represents sobriety and self-mastery, reminding February 8th Aquarians to maintain a balance between freedom and responsibility. With all their idealism and ambition, they sometimes push themselves too hard or disconnect from their own needs. Amethyst brings them back home, to presence, peace, and purpose. It's the crystal that reminds them that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it rests in quiet knowing. When used intentionally, in meditation, worn as jewelry, or placed in a creative space, amethyst becomes more than a stone. It becomes a sacred mirror, reflecting the Aquarian's best traits while gently healing their vulnerabilities. It teaches that genius doesn't have to be chaotic, that vision doesn't require burnout, and that the most transformative change begins within. So for those born on February 8th, amethyst isn't just a match, it's a metaphysical twin. Subtle yet strong. Mysterious but deeply wise. It carries the same quiet power, the same celestial clarity, and the same mission: to awaken, to uplift, and to create something timeless. Vedic Astrology, Shatabhisha Nakshatra. In the mystical world of Vedic astrology, many born on February 8th fall under the Shatabhisha Nakshatra, one of the most enigmatic and powerful lunar mansions in the Jyotish system. This nakshatra is governed by Rahu, the shadow planet, a force not seen but deeply felt. Unlike the bright planets that shine in the night sky, Rahu operates in the shadows, amplifying illusion, dismantling boundaries, and ushering in transformative energy. And for those born under Shatabisha, this influence creates a life path that's anything but ordinary. Shatabisha translates to 100 healers, and true to its name, individuals under this star carry within them the soul of a healer, a seeker, a truth excavator. They are often drawn to fields that others shy away from: alternative medicine, quantum science, psychology, astrology, mysticism, and the occult. Their minds are not satisfied with surface-level truths. They dive deep, relentlessly, unafraid of what they'll uncover. Their curiosity is both sacred and scientific, always straddling the line between cosmic and clinical. There's a loner archetype often present in Shatabisha natives, not because they dislike people, but because they are so internally focused, so mission-driven, that social trivialities can feel like distractions. These are the souls who find peace in solitude, clarity in chaos, and wisdom in silence. They are naturally introspective and can spend hours analyzing their own thoughts, the structure of the universe, or the emotional subtext of a passing glance. Their mind never stops, and that's part of both their brilliance and their burden. Emotionally, February 8 Aquarians under Shatabisha may appear aloof or emotionally unavailable, but in reality, they feel things deeply, often too deeply. It's just that their way of processing those emotions is highly private and internally layered. They may keep others at a distance not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. Trust, for them, is not given lightly, it is earned through truth, consistency, and intellectual respect. Once you have it, though, you'll discover a loyalty that is fierce, unwavering, and deeply spiritual. Shatabisha is also considered one of the most karmically intense nakshatras. People born under its influence are here to break cycles, to transform pain into power, and to guide others through the unknown. Their lives often include sharp turns, sudden identity shifts, unexpected losses, or dramatic awakenings. While this might sound chaotic, it's all part of a greater design. These individuals are being spiritually initiated over and over again until they rise into their true path. They are rebirth specialists, both in their own journey and in the healing they offer to others. Career-wise, Shatabisha individuals tend to excel in cutting-edge fields that blend intellect with innovation. They are the scientists exploring new dimensions of consciousness, the inventors who build intuitive technologies, the doctors who embrace holistic healing, or the mystics who speak in both data and dreams. They are often the first to challenge broken systems, to say, "Why are we doing this the old way?" and then create something entirely new. But this path is not without shadows. Rahu's influence can bring ego traps, obsession, and illusion. February 8 natives must learn to ground their ambition with wisdom, and to separate true purpose from fleeting desire. When out of balance, they may become overly fixated on success, validation, or escaping reality. But when aligned, their power is enormous. They become catalysts for collective evolution, shaking the foundations of whatever is false or outdated. The spiritual journey for these individuals is lifelong. Many experience their greatest awakening after a period of intense inner turmoil, a kind of dark night of the soul that strips away everything inauthentic. But from that place, they emerge as true visionaries, armed not just with ideas, but with hard-won insight. Their destiny is not to conform but to disrupt, heal, and transcend. They are the ones who see cracks in the system and don't just complain, they fix the structure from the inside out. In relationships, Shatabisha-born Aquarians need partners who respect their independence, their cerebral intensity, and their need for periodic emotional hibernation. They thrive with those who can navigate the metaphysical, who enjoy deep conversations about the cosmos and don't flinch when the subject turns to shadow work or soul contracts. Shallow flirtations won't hold their attention. They want cosmic connections, bonds that evolve across lifetimes. Ultimately, those born on February 8 under the Shatabisha nakshatra are guardians of hidden knowledge. Their lives are not about following a blueprint, they're about writing new ones. With Rahu as their guide, their path will never be straight, but it will always be significant. They are here not just to live, they are here to transform, to reveal what's been hidden, and to awaken others by awakening themselves. Their life is the ultimate healing paradox, painful and profound, isolating and illuminating, wildly chaotic and divinely orchestrated. Life path and destiny. To be born on February 8th is to arrive in this world carrying a blueprint written in stardust and lightning. These individuals are not here to fit in, they are here to reshape. Their life path is one of disruption and reinvention, a constant tension between honoring the past and forging the future. They are not satisfied with how things have always been done. In fact, the phrase, "that's just the way it is," acts like rocket fuel for their revolutionary soul. They question systems. They challenge authority. They don't just ask, why? They ask, what if it could be better? February 8th Aquarians are born with a cosmic assignment, to be the ones who see what others overlook, who ask the questions no one else dares to ask, and who pursue change, not for fame or recognition, but because their inner compass simply won't let them settle for less. Their destiny isn't about climbing ladders, it's about building entirely new frameworks. They aren't here to rise through the ranks. They're here to redefine the game. These individuals often find themselves on paths that are anything but conventional. Life will rarely follow a linear trajectory for them. There will be detours, reinventions, crashes, and rebirths, each one designed to peel back another layer of truth, each one revealing more of who they're really meant to become. These aren't just life events, they are activations. Turning points. Evolution markers. Their journey is meant to be dynamic and even chaotic at times, because only through disruption can they fully awaken to their true power. There is a deep duality within the February 8th Aquarian. On one hand, they are rational, logical, and driven by intellect. On the other, they are emotional, intuitive, and deeply idealistic. Their destiny is to merge these opposites, to be the bridge between mind and heart, science and spirit, rebellion and compassion. This paradox is their magic. It's what allows them to connect with people across belief systems, across generations, across realities. They may speak in innovation, but they listen with empathy, a rare and powerful combination. Because they often walk ahead of their time, these individuals can be misunderstood, underestimated, or even resisted. Their ideas may seem too much or too soon. But history shows us that many of the world's most impactful minds were dismissed before they were celebrated. The February 8th soul isn't here to be immediately embraced, they're here to plant the seeds of tomorrow. And even if they don't see those seeds bloom in their lifetime, they'll plant them anyway. That's the legacy they're here to leave. Their relationships, careers, and spiritual lives will all reflect their bigger mission, to evolve. They gravitate toward causes, communities, and experiences that challenge them to grow past limitations, both internal and external. They aren't here to coast, they're here to contribute. To serve something larger than themselves. Whether it's through technology, activism, art, or mentorship, their impact is always tied to a greater collective awakening. They don't want to change a life, they want to change life itself. And if you are that person, born on February 8th, your existence alone shifts the frequency of the planet. Every idea you birth, every norm you question, every conversation you ignite moves the world closer to something braver, freer, and more aligned with truth. You are not a follower of fate. You are its editor. Its innovator. Its wild card. You are proof that destiny isn't just what happens to us, it's what we dare to create. So when life gets heavy, when the mission feels too big, when you doubt if you're on the right path, remember this: you were never here to walk a paved road. You were born to build a new one, step by step, in the direction of everything that hasn't yet been imagined. The world doesn't stand a chance, because you're already rewriting it.